6:06 p.m., February 16, 2022. City of Paris Planning Commission, and we have a call to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Here.
Commissioner Gomez, Vice Chair Shively,
Here.
Chair Hammond.
Here. At this time, will we stand and have a moment of silence? The Pledge of Allegiance can be done by Vice Chairman Shiley if you'd like.
All right.
Okay.
I haven't done that in years.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, since we're still under the COVID-19 remote public comment, citizen participation, with the intent of adhering to the, I shouldn't say new, but community guidelines for the Center of Disease Control, City of Paris will allow for remote public comment and participation at the Planning Commission meeting via Zoom. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. The Zoom meeting, obviously, February 16, 2022, 6 p.m. Topic, Planning Commission meeting. If you're doing that, in order to provide public comment via Zoom, participants are required to register in advance at the following link, and I think if you see the agenda, you'll know that one. After registering, you receive a confirmation email containing information about joining the meeting. During the Planning Commission meeting, if you wish to speak via Zoom for public comment on any item, please select the raise hand icon next to your name. The moderator will grant you access to speak. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Okay. This time we move to presentations. I don't believe there are any, unless I have some, there's no presentation. And consent calendar, Planning Commission minutes for February 2nd, 2022. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Okay, we're all good. So can we entertain a motion? Motion by Commissioner Jimenez, seconded by Vice Chairman Shively.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively. Yes. Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With the vote of 4 yes, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. And now it's time for the public hearing. Item 7A, Development Plan Review 21-00007. A proposal to construct a 43,648 square foot industrial building on 2.59 acres located at the northeast corner of Ryder Street and Paris Boulevard within the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan. Applicant Mario Cavillo, Lee and Associates. Requested action is adopt resolution number 22-04, finding the project categorically exempt from CEQA under section 15332, class 32, infill development, and approved development plan review 21-00007 to construct a 43,648 square foot industrial building located at the northeast corner of Ryder Street and Paris Boulevard, and subject to the conditions of approval. Once again, is there any ex parte communication or site visits that anyone wants to reveal at this time?
No, none. I have driven by the site.
Okay, Commissioner Shively has been by the site.
Commissioner Jimenez, I've driven by the site several times.
Yeah, and Commissioner Jimenez, and I have been by the site and actually still, I actually sat there at the site, so I'm very familiar with the site. That's Commissioner Hammond. Okay. And with that, we move to the presentation. Back
Yes.
again, Matthew.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair Hammond, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Matthew Evans. I'm the project planner for this project. Thank you for that introduction. This is the Zoning and Vicinity Map. Obviously, this project is located on the corner of Paris Boulevard and East Ryder Street. It's in the light industrial zone. As you can see, it's surrounded on 3 sides by light industrial. Across the street on the corner, that would be the southeast corner, we have commercial zoning. And then next to that, we have the R10,000 residential zoning and an existing subdivision. So here is a street view. This is an aerial view looking northeast from Paris Boulevard to East Ryder Street. This is a street view of the site from Business Park Drive. I should mention that this particular project site, I'll go back, has 3 existing streets surrounding the site. So this is that Business Park Drive southwestern view. And this view is looking due west from the driveway of the site next to the project site. And this is a street view from Paris Boulevard. This is an eastern view of the site. So site plan and landscape plan. This is a proposed 43,600 and 48,000 square foot industrial building. It's located on 2.59 acres. Northern access from Business Park Drive is trucks only. And the southern access to the site is off of Ryder Street, and that's for passenger vehicles only. The site includes an outdoor shade structure and trellis table amenity. It has a total of 47 parking stalls, and it provides 21.8% total landscaping. So looking at the Paris Valley Commerce Center Specific Plan Industrial Development Standards, lot coverage, maximum is 50%, provided is 40. Building FAR is 0.75, provided is 40. Building height, 50 feet max, 37 feet is provided. Setbacks from Paris Boulevard is a 20-foot minimum setback. Front setback from Business Park Drive is 15 feet. Both setbacks are proposed at 20 feet. And there are no rear yard setbacks to residential for this project. It is not adjacent to residential except for across from Ryder Street. So these are the parking standards for office. The number of square feet provided is 1,552 square feet. The requirement is 1 space per 300 square feet. They're providing 6 spaces. And then warehouse, the rest of that would be the remainder of the building is 42,096 square feet, and that's 1 space per 1,000. That requires 20 spaces for the first 20,000 square feet, and 1 space per 2,000 square feet after that initial 20,000 square feet. Thus, 37 spaces are required, provided is 47. So this is what this is a rendering of the building, what will look like. This is looking at the building from Ryder Street. This is a kind of a northwestern perspective of the building. And you have the north elevations off of Business Park Drive, east elevations from Paris Boulevard, southern elevations from Ryder Street, and west elevations from the interior of the parcel. So the March Air Reserve Base ALUC compatibility, the project is located within an airport overlay zone. The project site is located within the B1 compatibility zone. With that, the project is also located within an airport accident potential zone, APZ2. And no ALUC review is required as there is no legislative action required for this project. For CEQA compliance, the project is categorically exempt for CEQA Article 1533-2 for infill development. The project size, location, and surroundings, existing buildings and streets qualifies as an infill project. Staff did require a noise study to be prepared by by the applicant. They chose Urban Crossroads, who conducted that noise study, and they concluded that the project, which also includes a 14-foot screen wall around the loading dock area of the project, to be less than significant with no impacts to the surrounding area. Staff recommendation is to adopt resolution number 22-04, finding that the project is categorically exempt from CEQA under section 1533-2, class 32 infill development, and approving development plan review 21-00007, allowing for the construction of said 43,648 square foot industrial building located on 2.59 acres on the northeast corner of East Ryder Street and Paris Boulevard between Ryder Street and Business Park Drive, also subject to conditions of approval. And that concludes my presentation. If there's any questions, I would be happy to answer them at this time. The applicant is also attending the meeting via Zoom as well.
Thank you very much. Okay. And at this time, when we pass around the palette, any questions or comments for staff at this time? Sorry.
One question, just to confirm, as stated in here, that the applicant will be providing 4 EV stations to include the actual EV stations.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No, not yet. Not yet. Not yet, not yet. Okay. Any more questions for, any more questions for staff?
Can we go back to the elevations, please?
Absolutely. Would you like to start at the rendering?
Yes.
Okay,
So the rendering, can you go to the next slide, please?
absolutely.
So the top one, just to clarify, or the bottom one, that's what we'll see if we're on Paris Boulevard, right? If we're on
Correct.
Paris Boulevard and we look to the right,
Yes.
is there any way we can embed more of the elevations that we get off of Ryder Street to wrap around? Just because the Ryder Street one, elevation has a lot more detail, and Paris is a big street. So is it possible to integrate some of those things, or is there a reason we didn't?
So actually, what we did have the applicant do here, they do have that tower element, and we also had them add trellis roof structures over both of those doors as a decorative element. So we did have them take into consideration the fact that, you know, it's the most visible portion of the building. And, you know, they are adding architectural elements to that. We did have them add the more substantial cornice and caps to the tops of those tower elements, if you will, and that glass as well. So we did have the applicant, embellish the elevations to add more articulation and add more elements and movement to that wall, rather than just having just a long flat wall. And then again, having the addition of the trellis structures over those doorways as an architectural element to give it a little bit more visual interest. And also too, you have a landscaped parkway and then 20 feet of landscaping here as well. So ultimately, that side of the building is going to be pretty well screened with landscaping as well too. So.
Right, but that's the main street, so that's the thing that we see the most. Most people travel on Paris and not necessarily Ryder, and I understand Ryder's the front of the building, but maybe integrating a little bit more, because if you would please go to the next elevation.
Sure.
That is a lot cleaner looking than the elevation than we see on Paris. So maybe having more of that, like the double little towers, more of that gray on the other side, on the Paris side, just making it, I guess, mimicking this a little bit more to make it a little bit crisper, because that is the main street. Like if you're, Ramona and Paris are like the two main streets in Paris on the north side. So if you're driving down Paris, like you want to see something a little bit nicer. So I don't know if we can work with the applicant.
Yeah, I think we can work with the applicant. We can bring it up to the applicant, but I think at a staff level, I think we would feel comfortable working with the applicant to maybe add a little more veneer or make that entry load larger, like the size of that. But I just want to throw that out there that we can, but
You can.
let's also bring it up to the applicant too.
Okay, and then some of that stone too, because the other side just looks, I understand there was more detail added, but it still doesn't look very aesthetically pleasing. The trellis for the staff, recreation, which is not required, so that's something that the applicant wanted to add, right?
Correct.
Perfect. And as far as the traffic studies, I just want to know, and this is for the engineer, I was trying to look through the conditions of approval. Again, I didn't see it when I read it earlier in the week. What we were doing to make sure that trucks follow the actual truck route, other than just signs.
Well, we're limiting access for trucks to Business Park Drive, and then they have to follow the truck route, and that would be the signage. Otherwise, a physical, if you're looking for some kind of physical constraint, these are public roadways, and all those travel on them. So other than, conditioning the project, and eventually, soon we're going to have truck route signage throughout the city, directing them as to which way they can go. But
So can we go to the overlay, and can you tell me where exactly trucks would be required to go?
absolutely. And if you could also take a look at condition number 3, engineering condition number 3.
Number 3, let me get to that one. Is this engineering? Public Works, no. You have it? Okay, yes?
Okay, so we're limiting truck access to Business Park Drive, and then they go on to Lakeview Drive, and then Commerce Drive, and Johnson Avenue, and then go north to Sinclair. And Sinclair Avenue is in place right now, is existing, and it goes all the way to Redlands Avenue. And then they got to go north from there, and that's our truck route.
Seems like a lot of turns for a big rig.
I don't know if there's going to be big rigs as such, but otherwise, yeah, that's the only truck route we can accommodate for this project.
So they would have to go.
They would have to make a few turns. You're absolutely right.
So is there something that we can put on the road, so it's like what are they called? T-bones? No, the little pork chops?
In the
So
street?
they can, no, like on their driveway, so when they exit, they can only exit right, because they should exit right and only right, correct?
Correct. So, yeah, the driveway will be modified. So we do that reverse curve on the driveways when we go through final design, and then it be directional. So trucks can only make a left in and a right out from Business Park Drive.
So they can only make a left in and right out?
They can, those type of driveways can limit left out, correct?
Okay. Yeah, because, I've still seen a lot of trucks on Ramona, or getting off on Ramona, even though we have signs. So I guess I'm looking for something a little bit stronger than a sign. Okay, but, so we are gonna still do that reverse
Reverse curve driveways,
curve
correct.
drive?
And then once the signs are up, then enforcement, of course, will be stronger at that time also.
Well, I really like that the entrance and exit for the big rigs is on the back. Otherwise, we would see a lot of that traffic on Ryder. So that does, I think, help with some of the traffic flow. That's it for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Shively or anyone else? Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just wanted to clarify, so on
On Business Park Drive, you guys will be adding a sidewalk, a pedestrian sidewalk on that side of the building, and
Yep.
on Paris and Ryder, the existing sidewalk. Are you guys going to be updating it, or will you guys be keeping that same one?
I'm not sure if it's, I don't know if it needs to be updated or not. I assume it'll be protect in place. If during the construction of the project, obviously, if they were to, damage any of that sidewalk, obviously they would be replacing that. But I don't think they anticipate redoing that meandering sidewalk that goes around two sides.
Okay, and you guys will be updating all the agriculture that's in that.
That is
along
correct.
sidewalk?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep.
Another question. So I know Paris and Ryder are pretty busy streets. Will constructing of this project affect the traffic as far as like taking up some of the streets or closures?
I don't anticipate much because this area is largely built out. Well, obviously, there's some vacant parcels in here, but I'm pretty sure that the majority of the utilities are probably stubbed to this site. I'm not exactly sure which ones are not, or would require them to go out into the street. Obviously, that would require an encroachment permit. They'd have to work with us on getting that and work with us on having to deal with that traffic at that time.
But we're not anticipating any closures?
No.
Okay, thank you.
The mic on? Mic.
I'm sorry.
Now we can.
Excuse me. Commissioner Lopez, so at the time they're going to do utility connection, they'll have to go through an encroachment permit process, and that would require traffic control. As you said, because of the extent of activities on these roadways, especially Paris Boulevard. And if in any case there be any road closure, which I doubt there will be, it would have to go to City Council for approval.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Shively, have any?
Nothing further.
Okay, Commissioner Ramirez?
Would you tell me the differences, compare a pork chop kind of setting on the middle of the little driveway versus a reverse curb drive?
Sure. A pork chop would actually accommodate movement, a kind of a right in and a right out.
Right,
But
okay.
when you do the reverse curve, that would actually limit a left out of a driveway for a truck. Autos may be narrow enough or not long enough, so they can make it. But for trucks, because of the extended, truck bed, they won't be able to make a left. It'd be such a radius that if they actually, the front of the truck comes out, but the rear would go over the driveway.
Okay. Is there something on the floor in between, or I'm trying to visualize what it looks like on the floor level?
Okay,
Because I know like the pork chop is like an elevated little pork chop. For this, is there anything on the floor, or is it just the curb on the right side that is modified?
Yeah, the curb on the right would be modified. So instead of curving out, it'd be curving in. So it'd be a reverse curve.
But there's nothing there, so a truck could go left, or they can't.
Well, they wouldn't be able to because the curvature would be such that the rear of the truck would get stuck by the curb.
Yeah, we just don't have a picture.
No, I wish I could see what it looks like, because according to this, I'm looking at it, and the way it's drawn on the diagram, you could still turn left, like if you go more towards the middle and not trying to make that turn, because there's a street in between, so it would still be possible to make
Well, it'd
that
be
left.
quite hard. Otherwise, they have to really come out and encroach into the other travel lanes, even if they can make that turn.
So no pork chop is needed?
No, because what would happen if you put a pork chop, you limit a left-in movement.
Yeah. Is there another curb or something we can put down? Just because I know that the one on, what is it, Ryder, because I brought this one up before. It's on Ryder, and I can't remember, I guess it's a little bit further in on Paris, that first one on the right-hand side. I see their trucks making a left all the time, and they encroach. Like, they totally, like, stop traffic coming both ways, because they, like, make almost like a U-turn trying to come out. So I've seen it happen a lot. So I'm really trying to make sure we alleviate that as much as possible.
I mean, maybe we can incorporate it like a channelizer in middle of the driveway.
Something like that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
something like a channel to guide, because, I mean, I've seen them do it. It's very creative, but they can do it.
Not gonna bother your husband?
No.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely implement
If
something
we can
like
look
that.
something into that, and I don't know if it means like widening the driveway a little bit more to make sure that the ones coming in have enough room to enter and not, you know, but I've seen them do it, like, they get pretty creative.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a few quick points. Thought you guys would get off easy, didn't they? Okay, number one, just clarification. This is number one. Is this a business park or this is a light industrial project warehouse? Because the distinction, the next to it is the business park, next to that is the business park, and we're talking about a 43,000 square foot warehouse, which means you're not going to have big giant companies. So we're talking about a warehouse, not so much a retail facility where making money, because it's a big distinction, right? So we are talking about an industrial complex warehouse as opposed to some retail or e-commerce or things like that, because it's 43,000. I just want to clarify that, right? I'm sure the applicant should know, but
Yeah, we can ask the applicant, but this is a pretty small scale warehouse, but relatively small, I would say that. They typically wouldn't generate as much as a distribution center. This is more of like warehouse storage. So you wouldn't have someone like a e-commerce or
Yeah.
something related use. But we can ask the applicant in terms of the type of users they typically lease to, because that's their business model, is my understanding, and they can clarify what type of users typically go into the size of building.
okay. One thing I think we looked at earlier, and there's on number 8 and number 16, it talks about graffiti. The one with the more detailed language from Commissioner Gomez that's the one we need. So one of them just says graffiti, 48 hours, it's graffiti 48 hours, and replacing with all the language that's there, that's the one that needs to be
Yep,
there.
So we need to keep.
So we need to keep
number 8.
8 and not
remove item 16.
16, delete
The
16.
planning commission.
Yeah. Number 16, okay. Lastly, and obviously, the adjacent church is not there 5 days a week, so essentially talking Sunday, but we're talking I'm making clarifications. I read everything, I just want clarification. A 14-foot integrated wall around the whole facility.
Correct.
Now, when you say integrated fence, we're talking about wrought iron with pilasters every 40 feet or 50 feet, or what are we talking about? Not the old-fashioned blinds, and you stick the blinds in between. Yeah. So integrated fence, since we don't have a picture of that, 14 feet around the whole side. So what kind of generically are we talking about integrated fence? We're talking metal or wrought iron?
So it's actually a wall, it's a screen wall. And when I say architectural integrated, so it's essentially the building itself is a concrete tilt-up building. The walls around the truck court are also concrete, so that's how it's architecturally integrated. So so you have a 14-foot tall screen wall that's solid cement wall.
Okay, so we're not talking about the green mesh where you see construction where they tie it in. We're talking about solid, well,
No.
that's something integrated, so that's important because that's an aesthetic thing over there. So if we're talking, we're not talking about big giant trucks, but still it's off Paris Boulevard, so we get a little bit more hyper when we hear Paris Boulevard.
Correct.
And I'm more concerned with the separation, obviously, it's Monday through Friday. It's a spec building, I'm sure, because they don't have no idea who's coming in. But the idea is that separation between that church and that place needs to be separated. And if we're talking 14 foot, I wish I had a picture of what it looked like. Just like the trash enclosure, I have no idea what it looks like. And we've had a lot of language about trash enclosure. Having that should be automatic, guys, because we're going to ask it. But everything project, we should see a trash enclosure. and see what it looks like, because some of that stuff doesn't get emptied. But the idea, it doesn't. This is Paris Boulevard, so we're a lot more difficult when it comes to Paris Boulevard because it's visual. Okay. But anyway, just a clarification about that screen that would be suggested to go around it, and that's fine.
It only goes around the truck area, though.
Right.
That's it, right?
Well, they want 14 foot around the whole thing.
No, it says just
At
around
least
the
around the
trucking.
east portion where the church is and around the north.
So let me go back to the site plan,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I wanna be
I can
absolutely
give you
sure.
an idea.
Okay.
So as you can see, the two parking areas are in gray, and you see the passenger vehicles off of Ryder Street.
Yeah.
That area is only screened by landscaping. The large kind of rectangle shape off of Business Park Drive that's in gray, that is the truck courtyard area. That area will be completely screened with a 14-foot tall wall. It will have a gate, obviously, because you got to have the trucks be able to come in. That gate will also be a decorative element. It'll be a wrought iron gate. But otherwise, yeah, you'll have a 14-foot tall wall around that entire truck court area. So the entire truck court area is screened. So anything going on in that area, any movement of vehicles, large vehicles, trucks, will be screened from view. And obviously, the 14-foot tall wall also helps mitigate with noise as well. Another thing that we have here too, along Business Park Drive, is a berm, landscaped berm in front of that wall that's 4 foot tall. So that also helps to kind of visually minimize the impact of that tall, 14-foot tall wall, and gives it a little bit more visual interest there and screens it a little bit better with that landscaping.
Does that make it appear to be 10 feet tall wall with the 4-foot berm and on the exterior?
No, it'll be a true 14-foot tall wall around the entire truck court area. 18
feet to the bottom of the berm?
I think the berm is just in front of it. I don't think it's not a wall on top of a berm. So you're not adding 4 feet in height. It's essentially going to act as a retaining wall in the front, a retaining wall for that 4-foot berm, if that makes sense.
But it'll be 14 feet high from
Right. So
the
essentially, what
top
you'll have
of
is a
the berm.
10-foot wall above the berm.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Just
my
along
original-
that one edge, just to kind of give it.
Oh, okay.
That's
just-
the original question.
Yeah.
Okay. Previously, he had mentioned about the meandering sidewalk, and I won't go into the history of the meandering sidewalk. You don't have time for that. But the palm trees that are there need to be eliminated. That's the ugliest thing. I can't believe anybody, even 20 years ago, would come up with something like that. So the palm trees need to go, and that's our suggestion because it's horrific look. It's horrific, and they're almost impossible to maintain. Now, what these don't show that here, it shows different landscaping. I'm assuming we'll take that out, and so whatever needs to be there. Now, is the sidewalk on Business Park is just a straight, solid one, or is that a meandering? It's not showing meandering sidewalk. It's just a straight, solid sidewalk.
I can answer, or John can answer.
Just the sidewalk on Business Park, that part.
Business Park, yeah, it'd be curvilinear. It'd be at the
Oh.
curb, yeah.
Or like the other ones?
It won't be meandering.
Oh.
I'm sorry, not curvilinear, it'd be at curb,
Oh, that curve. Okay.
straight.
Yeah.
So it's not going to follow the pattern. Thank you. The pattern on Paris Boulevard. That's not the plan. It's not to be doing. Okay. Okay. A little strange if you have trucks coming in and out near meandering sidewalk. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we couldn't see that on the landscape plan, but it's just a straight. Okay. Okay. Whatever the 22% or 25% of landscaping. Okay. I think. You may have another question. I think one thing, I did read the noise. It was basically noise, and he did all these receptors at different locations, which I thought was urban crossroads. Primarily, the thing was concerning noise at different levels, different locations, right where the church is, right, the residences across. And it came into the decibels that were, quote, acceptable, I'm assuming. And there really wasn't any, I'm taking that was the main primary thing was noise abatement. Because you're not talking about 18 wheels, you're talking about trucks, the more common trucks. So, okay, I'm pretty good. If you have another question, go right ahead, Commissioner Jimenez.
I do. Would you, right here, would you, I don't know if you have access to a mouse that can point exactly where the 14-foot wall would be exactly? Because I'm looking on what we got and I can't really see.
So I unfortunately, I don't have the ability to scroll it out, but,
Okay.
so again, visually looking at the site plan, so along Ryder Street, you have the, along Ryder Street, you have the parking for automobile traffic.
Right.
So the passenger vehicles. So up at Business Park Drive, this is the area that would have that 14-foot tall wall. So the 14-foot tall wall actually extends from the building
Up a little bit.
adjacent to the parking lot. It extends to the edge of the property, then goes north to that corner where the driveway is, and then it extends westward, and then it back to the building. So it encloses that entire gray area that you see on the site plan on the screen, the northern area.
So on the northern side, we won't see the wall from we'll see the wall from the street, but there'll be landscaping on the outside of that wall.
Exactly, correct, yes.
How about on the side that's closest to the church? Is that landscaping on the inside of the building or inside the fence or on the outside where the church can see landscaping?
Yes, so running along the entire length of that wall is landscaping. It's shown here on the landscape plan in like a lighter green color.
Yes.
Yeah, so there will be landscaping.
But is that on the inside of the fence towards the warehouse or is it on the outside towards the church?
It's on the outside towards the church.
So the
Yeah.
public or the regular car passenger vehicle parking, you said there's no fence between the parking for the church and that parking, so somebody can use that parking.
I believe there is a fence. I believe that area does have a wrought iron fence, I believe, with pillars, pilasters, every 40 feet. That's a condition of approval, by the way. It is
didn't
in the
see
conditions, yeah.
How tall is that fence, you know?
I am not 100% sure on the height of that fence. I'll let the applicant, the applicant is here and can answer that question.
Okay, I guess those are just my questions, how we're separating this parking from the adjacent parking lots to make sure, people can park there and walk to the adjacent locations. So if somebody parks here, where I'm seeing, sorry, no, everybody can't see, all around here on the northern side of like the parking, is there a fence around this area?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, did
I'll-
you
I'll
guys
let-
see that?
I'll let the applicant
Let me
speak
see.
to that.
This is. The
They're
fence
not,
that-
by the way, I don't believe they're not required to build a fence. We don't require separation between parking lots. Typically, it's just separated with landscaping. So there's no fence requirement per se, but I believe that they are proposing a fence there. But
Okay.
again, I'll let him speak to that.
Perfect. That was it for me, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Shively? Okay, so obviously there's a trash enclosure there, there's no way to get from the truck court to the south. So there's right there's a berm, there's parking spaces, so that's totally separate. So the north is the trucking and the south is the vehicle parking. And then it's separated from that, whatever that adjacent property is to the east, that's not the church, but it's something, other building over there. Okay. I'm good? Okay. This time, I believe he said the applicant was on Zoom. Okay. If you just state your full name, we know who you are, but just state your full name and spell your last name for us.
Sure, this is Mario. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mario Calvillos, last name spelled C-A-L, V as in Victor, I-L-L-O.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, so any questions I've heard, or you want me just to go proceed?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, well, Vice Chair, Commissioners, thank you again for the opportunity to present the project. We're looking forward to it, to fulfilling the need for the small local owners and community members with this project and the small side. So the first thing I could respond to is in regards to the screen wall. It seems like there's some follow-up questions still remaining on that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the screen wall, as far as is my understanding and working and trying to separate the noise and whatnot from the churches, I don't know if we have the site plan, but if you look at the site plan going north and south, which runs along there adjacent to the church parking lot.
Yes, sir.
So from the south end, which is on the auto parking side only, going north to Business Park, that whole length of there is the 14-foot screen wall.
Okay.
Okay, so that separates the church parking lot. And in addition, we are also screening from the auto parking to the church building going east.
Okay.
So the church is totally separated by screen walls. And then they have their landscaping inside of that screen wall, and we have landscaping inside of the screen wall. Does that help clarify at least the screen wall adjacent to the church? And then where the screen wall ends at the church building, that's the back of their building continuing east to the adjacent property.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Does that help clarify that?
Yes, for me. Commissioner Jimenez?
So you're stopping the fence from, I guess, where it connects the truck courtyard and the vehicle parking. You're going from that connecting point east,
Yes.
and that's the back of their building. Are you doing anything from that point down towards Ryder Street as far as screen walls?
No, the screen will stop at the edge at the beginning of the church building, and then the landscaping will continue on going east, adjacent to the property there, also to the east, and then obviously all of the landscaping along Ryder. So from the back of the church building going east, the adjacent property east, and all of Ryder is all landscaping with no fencing.
Oh, okay, so the fence is just kind of that portion from that connecting point between the truck courtyard, vehicle parking, all the way until the end of the church building,
That's correct.
or the beginning of the church building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, perfect, thank you. Do you know how tall that wall is, the little portion?
Yes, that wall there is, the architect's on, but it's 14 for sure in the truck court area. And then in between to just help provide that screening, I want to say it's dropped down to 8 feet, but we can confirm the plans, but there is a wall there. I don't think it's 14, but I believe it's 8.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to really know if there was one there. Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Shively or Commissioner? Okay. Did you have anything else to add? Since you're on Zoom, I can't say.
Let's see. Nope. Again, we're just excited to get this project going, and looking forward to it. And,
Okay.
we're ready to go as soon as we get our approvals.
One last thing, and I think I brought it up because it's an aesthetic. I'm trying to be nice about it, but the meandering sidewalk landscaping.
Yes.
We need to, and we would like to know, we're really looking at eliminating those palm trees, getting some new landscaping all the way up, because it's a disaster of probably the 90s, whenever this was put in. But those palm trees need to go, and I'm sure in the landscaping plan, that is part of your plan, is to redo some of that landscaping along that.
I will concur your statement about the palm trees, and they are gone.
Okay. Yeah,
They are gone, and the landscaping will all be changed and enhanced. As you can see, we're twice as much as what we're required to do on the landscaping. So we believe in landscaping.
okay. Did you have a question? Commissioner?
And I have one last question. I brought up with our staff the architecture on Paris Boulevard. The elevation on Ryder is beautiful, but the elevation on Paris, which is our main street into the city, I mean, Ramon and Paris and that little thoroughway is like the most, I want to say most used in northern Paris. So I mean, I see a lot of effort, but I liked where you did on Ryder, where there was like two of those towers were like close together and kind of breaking it up a little bit more. And adding some more of the stone, maybe some of the veneer, just making it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I know I love the landscape plan. I like all the landscape, but it has to go hand in hand with the architecture and landscape just to really, bring the eye to it and look at a beautiful building. A lot of our citizens really don't want to see another warehouse, but when it's zoned for that, we want to make it as beautiful and aesthetically pleasing as we possibly can. I like the colors, but I really was hoping you would be able to work with staff to really make it more of what we want to see in our city.
Certainly, like we've done on the project to this date, we take all of the recommendations. We'll work with staff to accommodate, within reason, because we're so excited we want to get it going. So we'll get the plans adjusted to incorporate some of these changes. So yes, we will work with them.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. And with that, that's why they turned out. We open it up for public comment. And since I don't have access to the Zoom, you'll have to let me know if there's anyone on Zoom. Okay.
Commissioner Hammond,
now
there's 2 public comments on
Right.
Zoom. Sorry about that.
Okay. No, that's okay. I just wasn't sure. There might have been somebody added that. Okay. We do have public comment, and of course, if there's an interpreter, you have 6 minutes. I don't know how they want to do this.
Mr. Chair, if I may, this is I believe the interpreter is coming out to assist the
Okay.
gentleman or
Okay.
the people in the
Okay.
audience.
Okay.
Sí. ¿Sí? ¿Hablar en el podio? No, yo lo único que quería preguntar, yo como que entendí que la adhesión de las casitas van a hacer una pared, ¿no?
Dice, as far as I understand.
Whoa. Yes. If you would at least state their names and spell their
¿Es
last.
su nombre, señor, por favor? Su nombre.
Mi nombre es Emilio Lázaro Pérez, para servirles.
Emilio Lázaro Pérez, that's my name.
My name. My name
¿Qué
is
quiere decir? No, diga, yo le voy a interpretar.
Pues yo lo que quería saber era que
What I want to know is,
yo entendí que van a
as far as I understand, you're going to build,
van a levantar van a
you're going to
construir una
build
pared
some
de
walls
las casitas así
by the
atrás.
houses in the back.
Es todo.
That's all. You're going to build some walls in the back of the houses? That's what he's saying.
Pared.
It's as far as, that's what I understood, he said.
Let me understand this.
Yeah, I
He lives across the street on the south side of Ryder Street.
También de la calle Ryder es donde vive usted?
Sí, en la calle Boulevard Pérez, y luego la Ryder,
Paris,
primera calle,
Ryder, I live on the first street,
en el Rosario,
right there in Rosario. That's where I live.
No.
atrás del terreno ese que van a construir.
Right by the land where you're going to build something.
Okay. I guess south of Ryder Street.
¿Al sur de la calle Ryder vive usted? ¿Al sur?
Sí, de este lado, ¿dónde está? ¿Me podría explicar?
If I could explain it,
Okay.
Aquí está el Boulevard Pérez. Aquí
this
está
is
la Ryder.
Paris Boulevard and this is Ryder.
Y yo vivo aquí en el Rosario.
And I live here in Rosario
Ajá,
on the little houses. I make a U and that's where I live.
la división con el terreno.
Yeah, on that land right there. And I want to know if you're going to build some walls right there.
Sorry, the project site is on the north side of the street, so the developer would not be constructing an improvement that's not on their property. It would be,
No, I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
they would be only be building on the side of their property, not off-site.
That's all I wanted to know.
Thank you so much. Gracias.
Thank you.
Could you do me a favor and spell his last name just for the record?
Su nombre, dígalo. Emilio? Emilio?
Emigdio Lázaro Pérez.
A ver. Pregunta.
It's for Ryan. Steve.
Okay, his first name is Emigdio. Last name Lazaro. You pronounce it Emigdio Lázaro.
Ah, okay.
Correct? You got it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. ¿Alguna otra pregunta? No. Señora, ¿quiere usted decir algo?
No, pues solamente lo que quería decir mi esposo, la cosa
I just wanted to see what my husband said.
If she's going to speak,
¿Va a hablar usted también aquí? Para diga su nombre.
Sebastiana Lázaro.
Sebastiana Lázaro is my name. Sebastiana Lázaro. Like Sebastian, Sebastiana.
okay.
Lázaro, sí.
¿Qué va a decir, señora?
Nosotros vivimos aquí. Aquí está el terreno. el
We
baldío.
live on that one empty lot that's in the corner. That's where we live.
Y atrasito de
And,
donde van a construir,
and right behind it, where you're going to build,
ahí vivimos nosotros.
that's exactly where we live. ¿Y cuál es su pregunta?
No, pues sí, lo que dijo que si iban a
So what my husband says,
right.
are you going to build some walls right there by my house?
Can I answer in Spanish or English and you translate?
I'm sorry?
Can I answer in Spanish or do I need to answer in English?
Do you want to talk to her?
I just want to answer their question just to make sure
Yeah,
they're
go ahead
clear.
if you like. You want to speak
English?
Spanish? Go
English?
ahead.
Mr. Chair, if I may, just to understand Commissioner Jimenez, are you saying you're going to speak Spanish to the commenter?
If I could. So I wasn't sure what the protocol is.
I would want at least to have the translation into English so that our English speakers can also understand as well.
Okay.
I'm only interpreting verbatim. I can't add anything that she's saying. That's
Right.
why I can't. I could ask questions, but it's not my job to ask
No, I
questions.
understand. I've
That's
done
why
this-
I'm only saying what they're saying. If they don't explain it, I can't explain it. Although I know what she's trying to say, I can't say it because it's not protocol.
Right. No, I understand. I've done this before too.
Yeah, I
So
know.
I know you only translate and we can only technically understand what
Yes,
you
I'm only interpret what they're saying.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
if they don't make sense, I don't make sense.
Right. No, I completely
That's my
understand.
job.
Okay.
Whatever they say, I repeat. I'm just a parrot. That's really what it is. Yeah, I know what they're trying to say, but they can't say it,
And
unfortunately.
you can't add, you can't elaborate, right?
Yes, I
understand.
cannot elaborate. Whatever they say, I tell you.
So my question is, I think, would they give me the name of the street that they live on, please?
¿Cuál es el nombre de la calle donde ustedes viven? ¿Lo tiene en la licencia? Rosario?
Yeah.
The address. You want the address?
Just the street, please.
It's El Rosario Drive.
Okay, so El Rosario Drive.
3172 El Rosario Drive.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure because
Nada más
I
quiero
think they were talking about
asegurarme,
building a
porque vamos a
wall
construir una
between
pared,
the back houses and the lot,
las partes traseras y el lote.
but they're proposing to build is across the street.
Construir eso atrás de la calle.
Yeah, so across the street, on the other side of the street, not behind their houses.
So it's not going to affect us in any way?
No, it's on the side where the church
No,
is.
es el lado donde está la iglesia. ¿Está bien? ¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Solamente.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Gracias.
you so much. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
didn't try to be a smarty, but
No. Come
No,
on.
I'm with you. I've done that before, and it's hard because you know what they want to say, and you can only repeat.
No. Yeah.
Everybody needs to understand. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the first for us. I think it's probably a long time
should do
coming with the
more,
city. Yeah.
I grew up in Paramount.
I do all the meetings.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, if I may, could we wait until the translator is back in the booth?
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Okay. The nuance here, so I'm, okay. Long overdue, but it's just.
Chair Hammond, we have a couple of public comments here. The first one's from a
Oh,
Janet.
hold a second.
Oh.
Oh, there he is. Okay, thanks.
Apologies. The first one is from a Janet Barnaby. Your mic is unmuted and you have the floor, miss.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hi, good evening. My name is Janet Bernabe. I'm a community member from Paris. And I just had a few concerns about this project. I know it's already on a zone light industrial, and I'm still learning, but do understand that it is under a certain amount of, it's a smaller warehouse that it can actually be exempt from the CEQA category. But I think one of my biggest concerns is, first of all, I think one of the planning commissioners mentioned was the truck route. That's really concerning because knowing that, Paris and Ryder, it's going to start getting more congested. And that's one of my concerns is just the truck route, which way they're going to be going. Are they going to be heading north on Paris? Or I think that's really vague on that end and understanding. And I did see that also the mobile homes are across the street. I'm just wondering if those residents were also notified and the church about this project that was going to be taking place. So, getting their input, knowing what concerns they might have also about this project. Overall, I mean, I didn't see too much wrong with it besides not actually having a CEQA report, because I think it's really important to know what the impacts are going to be, not just the traffic, the noise, but the additional pollution is going to be added to that region. I'm not too far from there, from the central area of Paris. So, I mean, just what else can we do in an effort to be able to, I'm going to say, combat all this, the effects of warehouses that are impacting our community day and day. What else can we do to avoid that? That's kind of like my main concern is the route for the truck, and also like the homes across the street, and also the church that's right there. But yeah, that would be it for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. What was the first name again? I missed it.
Janet.
Oh, Janet.
J-A-N-T. Yes.
Okay. Was there anyone else? I don't have any.
Yes, Chair
Okay.
Hammond. We have a Mr. David Rabb. Your mic is unmuted and
David
you have
Rabb.
the floor, sir.
Okay. Okay, sir. Mr. Rabb?
Okay.
Okay.
David Rabb, speaking
Oh,
as a private
okay,
resident
okay.
of Paris.
I thought that.
I like, yeah. My name may sound familiar, but I'd like to thank the staff for our commissioners for bringing up their concerns regarding the landscaping. And I commend the applicant for wishing out to change the landscaping. One thing that a concern of mine as an avid runner, walker, bicyclist, is the meandering sidewalk in that area. If there's any way to mandate as a condition of approval of this project, that the sidewalk be straightened and not be placed at the curb, because that's one of my other pet peeves, is that you place the sidewalk on the curb on a busy street, people are going over 35 miles an hour. It doesn't facilitate pedestrian access. It puts the pedestrians in danger. And I think that was a mistake over at the warehouses that are on Ryder. So straightening out that meandering sidewalk, putting a tree buffer so that when people are walking down the street or the sidewalk, people in wheelchairs, people running down the sidewalk, even a few bicyclists to get out of the street. It's more pedestrian friendly, more access to friendly, people who are walking and so forth. I think that will make our community better. It will help mitigate some of the impacts of the warehouse. And just the meandering sidewalk is just not good for pedestrians. So that's just my one concern. And overall, thank you guys for your comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It took me a while to recognize. I didn't hear the names. Thank you. Okay.
We have one more public comment from Marvin Norman. Your mic
Okay.
is unmuted, sir, and you have the floor.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Yeah, just one check every time. Marvin Norman here, policy specialist with CCAEJ. And yeah, I echo the comments that from the previous caller. I definitely would agree that the meandering sidewalks are not that great from a user perspective. Architects love them. They look nice and pretty on the pictures, but when you use them, especially on a bike or a wheelchair or whatever, they are not that great. And definitely agree that them being right against the curb is also not ideal, especially on Paris, where I know people are easily flying up and down there at freeway speeds at 60 miles per hour. Honestly, you guys need to start taking steps to reduce those speeds, but that's probably out of the range of this project for sure. I will also kind of point out a thing I pointed out a couple weeks ago. I know you guys were talking about how to keep the trucks going one way or another way or whatever. And then just remind you guys that if you guys want the trucks to go somewhere or not go somewhere, then you have to make it physically possible or impossible for them to do what you want to go, which way you want them to go. You can't just like put half measures and signs up. But just if they don't want to turn left, put a curb and put a median so they can't turn left, then they can't turn left. And also, even though we know it's industrial and it's a smaller project, that's a double-edged sword in this case, because the smaller projects then escape the ISR from the AQMD. So we would like to make sure that the air quality impacts for this project are dealt with, and that that the same type of mitigation measures are made available from this project as well, so that it is not being skipped out on those sort of improvements that would mitigate allow for zero emissions delivery of vehicles. Anyway, thank you. And
Thank you very much, sir. That the last one?
I think that concludes public comment from Zoom.
Okay. You know what I'm going to ask? If the developer would like to, or applicant would like to respond, now would be the time, if you would like to respond. And you're welcome to, if you're not muted, can unmute. Okay. It's your choice. Mr. Carvillo? If not.
Yep, sorry, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we will, we'll comply to everything that we've done to date, and we think we've worked very closely with staff to accommodate all the things that we were conditioned to do, and so we think we've done our part.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Is there any more public comment out there? Okay. Okay, we'll close the public hearing and move to the commissioners' discussion. Go either direction, it's only 4 of us. Commissioner Isaac. Oh.
I just want to say, I do want to thank the applicant for going above and beyond with the landscaping requirement. I think I saw there was a total of 21% landscaping on this particular project. Also, for including more of a setback towards the street. I feel like that helps a lot with creating a less overwhelming presence on especially a busy street like Paris Boulevard. And I do want to reiterate what Commissioner Jimenez said about the elevation on Paris Boulevard. I think we could improve, especially on the corner of the northwest corner of the building. I think just changing the color of it or something that could make a big difference, or it could make a difference in breaking it down too. Yeah, overall, I think it met all the requirements. I think it was pretty well done. Thank you to the applicant.
Commissioner Jimenez.
Thank you. So, I love the percentage of landscape. And I really appreciate that our community is taking the time to come in and ask questions, call in and make their comments. They're heard. I agree with them. It was very unfortunate that we didn't need to have a sequel because, it's called a what? It's called a infill? Yeah. So, it would have been nice though because there's still an impact. And something, Mr. Rabb brought up something that as a mom made me think because, I live in the villages of Avalon and we used to take a walk on Ramona and it does have the meandering walkway, but it also has that buffer where there's trees dividing the walkers from the street. And when you're walking away from them and you just hear them coming really fast towards you, it's really scary. Like when you're facing them, but you never know when the car going fast can jump the curb. And it just gives you a safety net knowing that there's a tree or something there, like a buffer. So, we probably can't do it with this one, but maybe for the future, we might want to consider about having the sidewalks kind of buffered with landscaping or something just to make sure we're keeping our community safe. And all my questions were answered about the fencing. So I'm okay with that. I just really, really want to work on that Paris elevation. And I appreciate that I'm willing to work with staff, but I kind of would, I don't know about you all, but I would kind of like a second look at it just to make sure, this is going to be going one of our busiest busiest streets in the city. So I really want to make sure it meets our standards. And, staff has done an amazing job, but I really want to make sure that it meets our standards for being on one of the busiest streets of our city. So, we don't have to do it here, but I would like a second look, or I don't know if anybody else would like to take another look at the elevations. I don't know if that's something we do. Yeah. So just staff, just our expectations. So if staff can do that, I would be very happy if they could just take a look and work with the applicant.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Commissioner Shively?
I want to commend the applicant for actually not only going to the degree of putting EV station or EV parking spots, but actually installing 4 EV stations there. It's definitely a start to, improve the area. And I do want to also tag on to the back of the separating of the street, especially along our major street intersections and major streets. The sidewalks need to be pulled away, so there is a buffer for high volume traffic, and the volume is how fast they're actually going. It's very important to be able to create a safety buffer for those that are walking, and especially with everybody not watching where they're going. Instead of looking at where they're walking, they're looking at their phone, so it could become a more serious issue in the future. So if staff could actually work with the applicant to create a buffer zone and landscape so that we can have the separation between the traffic and the pedestrians along the sidewalk. The architecture, I think, is good. I think we're still using grays, but that's the zeitgeist of the moment as of now. So someday in the near future, I'm sure it'll change. Thank you.
And thank you, not to prolong it. Number one, I appreciate the public comment and the respectful way that they do it, because it's good to have the public comment. I can tell you from points, number one, the meandering sidewalk was put in by somebody was probably meandering when they were thinking. I remember it was predated me on the commission, so you can't blame me for that. But it was some idea that little stretch was going to be that way, and I understand to take away the architectural thing to try to make it look. But if you're going to do that, you got to do it all the way up and down, and it need to be consistent. And not just to do it in that space didn't make any sense, even at the time. There's a lot of things that were done then. So, but I think more so, I appreciate the applicant with the idea of the architect, not just the architecture, but also the landscaping. The landscaping is key, because if we're picking on it, it's because it's on Paris Boulevard. We got to have that look on Paris Boulevard. We have places south of there that will go unmentioned. I could mention the names of facilities, but you just wonder sometimes about when the graffiti is all over the walls and all that stuff is not taken care of at all. The city needs to step in on some of that. But we can do the best we can here is to make sure that applicant puts in a decent amount, and it's like 22% on this one. Yes. It's decent. As I mentioned before, we need to make the change. The changes I think I like is to take away the palm trees, things like that on Paris Boulevard. and just do something that's more similar. I think what Commissioner here was mentioning was not so much the elevation, but the enhancements. The enhancements to the color. You know what we like. Let's stop with the flat look. If we have to do veneer, stone, we have to do other things, do it. Because you know the way we think. Just do it, staff. So don't come with a flat, do it because it's on Paris Boulevard. The other buildings, they're farther east, so they're not as visible, even though they're beautifully designed. This is right there in the corner. So staff needs to say this up front, because you know you're going to come to us. We're going to say this for all future planning staff, okay? So get the enhancements on that portion, especially that faces Paris Boulevard. If you do the architecture, you got a beautiful project. The one on right over there, which is that long building, but beautiful architecture. You see the colors, and that's what Paris does. We have insisted that those colors be different, and you can see the difference in the architecture in those buildings as opposed to the past, which is flat white. So by doing this, it might seem mean, it might seem picky, but yeah, we're going to be picky. And it's because we care, and we want to make sure if we're going to have this project, it should be done high quality. I appreciate a lot of the comments. One of the reasons I was asking, is this light industrial or business park? Because there's quite a bit of difference between the two. Because business park, you could sell Paris wheels, you have tires, you think all kinds of things to be done there, as opposed to just a warehouse. Big difference in the way things are done in a warehouse. You know, the traffic going in, the truck traffic. On a lighter scale here, this is not going to be Amazon, guys. So you're not going to see these big giant wheelers going in. So I don't have as much a problem with this one. My rathers would be business office in the sense of suit and tie. That's my preference of the city. It always has been for 20 years, but I'm only one person. But you got to go with what the zoning is. And yes, they met the standards, the noise abatement was done, and I think that, and the enhancements on Business Park Drive, that's going to be key because right now it's just weeds. But all these things that come in, they enhance the area because we require them to make enhancement to the street, the sidewalks. You'll see the difference. And so that's why I'm not that as concerned with that. Otherwise, I think we're good. And I think I'm through. I think he's answered the questions, and we have a developer that's really, applicant that's really willing to work with us. And I think taking into account the architectural, the enhancements, which is what I would, enhancements to that, are absolutely necessary. And I think that will make the difference, I think, for us. Okay. With that, anyone else? Okay. We have some amendments. If we need a motion, there may be some amendments that need to be added. One is number COA, number 8, eliminating COA number 16. Number 8 is the very detailed graffiti shall be painted over in panels and not patches. In addition, will match the color of the wall. Those are some of the things requested by Commissioner Gomez, and this and everyone. And the one that was also repeated, I think in number 16 was also there, and I don't think needed to be there. So we still have to have that 48 hours, make sure that's there. Okay, I think that was one. The enhancement to the building is a staff thing, so I don't know, Mr. City Attorney, if that even needs to be added there.
I think it's good just to have it
Okay,
under the applicant.
enhancements. I'm not sure what number you would put that, but the enhancement to the architectural and Paris Boulevard side. There's a lot of numbers there. I'm not sure with it. Yeah, to the meandering sidewalk, the buffer also too. The buffer from that. So you have the enhancements in the building, elimination of number 16, not number 8 for the graffiti. The landscaping, in a sense, buffer all along with the meandering sidewalk to ensure that there's that safety issue. Not just to mention enhancing the landscape, because I'll tear it down myself if I could. And I think.
It was a little turning so that trucks can't turn.
Yeah,
left.
and I'm just sure what you call that. It's a reverse?
No.
Well, it would have with final design, we usually we do implement the reverse curve,
Reverse
but we'll add the channelizer to the driveway.
Channelizer, okay, thank you. Channelizer. How would I remember that? Channelizer, thank you. Okay. Was there anything else?
Do you want to make notice of that typo, or is it not needed?
Oh, which number was that? That was number?
No, there's in this the staff report, page 5. I think it
staff
said
report, yeah, it's okay.
shade.
Shad.
Yeah, we can make the changes to that just for the official record.
Okay.
That's a new term, shad. We don't say shade. Say we're hip, you know.
It's a short shade.
Hey.
It's very small.
I'm a little old-fashioned. Okay. That should be it, right? Even if the city attorney.
Yeah,
We
we just want
okay?
to clarify, what condition are you putting for the sidewalks?
That's what I was trying to figure whether they were going to add that. Well, that's graffiti.
That's graffiti.
Well, you're moving 16. It could be
We
16.
could be 16, yeah.
Yeah.
For the landscape
Yes.
buffer, we'll just add an extra condition towards the
Okay.
end, and then the 16 we'll just do an outline so we don't change the numbering.
Okay.
So
Okay. I can't remember them, so I said them, but I couldn't remember. Okay. So that, yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'll clarify what motion you're seeking.
Mhm.
Okay, you're seeking a motion to adopt resolution number.
Yeah, I was
uh,
getting there. Oh, you want me to read it first? I can read it
I
first.
can do it if you want.
Okay.
22-04, finding the project categorically exempt from CEQA under section 15332, class 32 infill development, and approved development plan review 21-00007 to construct a 43,648 square feet industrial building located at the northeast corner of Ryder Street and Paris Boulevard, and subject to the conditions of approval with the four amendments that were mentioned, removal of condition number 16, adding language relating to enhancement to the architecture, I believe on Paris Boulevard.
Yes.
And looking into landscaping on the buffer for the meandering sidewalk area to ensure safety. That's my understanding.
And the
And
north side.
and the north.
That was like right on the curb too.
Okay.
All around.
And also the channelizer on the north entrance.
Channelizer, okay.
And then staff will obviously fix that typo that was mentioned.
Okay. Perfect. I'm glad you did it because I never would. With that, can we entertain a motion? Commissioner Lopez has moved. Need a second, guys. And seconded by Commissioner Jimenez. Thank you.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes?
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes?
Vice Chair Shively. Yes. Chair Hammond.
Yes.
The vote of 4 yes, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. And with that, we move on to item 8, business item. And I don't think there's a business item. So we move on to item 9, public comments. Anyone wishing to address the planning commission regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. You can either walk up to the podium or wait for a chairperson to recognize you, or by Zoom, the usual pattern with Zoom. Speak clearly, give your name, last name only, for accurate recording in the minutes. And of course, we give 3 minutes. If there's interpretation, it'll be 6 minutes. So if anyone would like public comment on any item not currently was on the previous agenda, can speak now. Is anyone on Zoom? I have no way of knowing.
No, sir.
Any public comment?
Chair Hammond, there's nobody on Zoom.
Okay. We close the public comments and move on to commission members' announcements or reports.
Just very quickly, want to say thank you to the staff, and thank you for your presentation. Also, I just want to wish everybody I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day. They spent it well with their loved ones. I know it landed on a Monday, so it's kind of tough to go out, going out for dinner or something. But maybe you guys celebrated during the weekend and enjoyed your time watching the Super Bowl as well. Besides that, I just wish everybody a good night.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Jimenez.
I also want to echo what Commissioner Lopez said and thank the staff. I mean, we're seeing these projects come to us and we have to nitpick them less and less every single time. I even saw reference to like the Chinese elm and the native plants that Commissioner Gomez loves. I know Commissioner Lopez is very much about like the the electric vehicles. So I really appreciate staff listening and really being proactive and making sure that the projects come to us a lot easier to look through and really address. The buildings are coming along. I had a business work meeting today, and I had one of my friends in the car, and she was pointing out we were driving towards south of Paris. She had no idea all the stuff that was there in Paris and how pretty it's gotten. I guess it's been years since she drove out this way, and she just commented on how far along and beautiful the city's looking. And so the KFC's coming along, the Little Caesars is coming along, and I saw some work on the old Walmart. I saw fence. I read somewhere where it was going to be, but I don't remember. Harbor Freight. So I love seeing all the movement in our city. So that's it for me. I hope everybody also had a beautiful Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Shively.
If we can just get a quick update on the Paris Plaza, if there's anything new going in there real fast, and then if a quick update on the improvement of along Placentia Street as well.
Okay. I appreciate that everyone should have their business cards by now, and Sylvia's been on top of it, so appreciate our planning manager, our director has a lot on his plate. Well, there's no excuses, but we're still, no. There's a lot on his plate, so any way I can try to help him, and we appreciate staff. We always appreciate staff. Seems like we beat them up. We appreciate our engineer, who chimes in every now and then. But we don't leave you alone. We'll find a way to bring you in on it. So, and our city attorney's been nice to us lately. He probably won't be fit in the future, but pretty nice tonight. Comes back for a trip and he's nice to us. Okay, but I appreciate the direction because I'm certainly not perfect here. I can tell you right now. We appreciate the audience for coming and participation. And again, we hope you had a good weekend. I was down in San Diego, Coronado. I know rich people's land. Can't even afford to walk on the ground down there. But it's really nice. It was hot. It was hot down there. It was 87. I said, what's going on? Even walking to the beach, it was 87. But then rains on Monday. That's okay. But anyway, it was good to be away. And obviously, we have a lot of things going on in Paris. And also, to lastly, and I'm sure our director will bring it up, the March 16th to 18th is the League of California Cities. Obviously, if you go online, you send us a link. There's the registration, and then the hotel is, I think, at $650. But then after this, we won't do it during the meeting. Discuss if you plan to go. We got some ideas about how to go, but I don't want to do that on the air. But anyway, it's an important one. I've been to quite a few of them. Obviously, it might be streamed down because of all that's going on, but it's definitely a planning commissioner one. It's not for planners. It's for commissioners. That's what I like about it most. So if you really can, there's enough time to do it by February 28th. You just have to pay that and get reimbursed. Okay, I have nothing else, and I'll turn it over to the Director of Development Services, reports and/or information.
Yes, good evening, Chairman Hammond, members of the Planning Commission. As you mentioned, there will be a Planning Commissioners Academy up in Northern California. So if you haven't registered already and you plan to do so, please let us know. Please let our administrative assistant know so we can kind of plan accordingly. But just let us, pretty much just let us know so we can plan. So the plan is not to have the Planning Commission on March 16th, so we kind of inform those in the queue that we need to kind of work around that date. And then in terms of the status of Placentia Interchange, there is, I think it leaves in the last plan check, or it might have been approved already. I can ask John to confirm. But the plan is to have that improvement all the way to Paris Boulevard before the end of the year. So there will be an additional access into the city, which should hopefully alleviate traffic on Ramon Expressway and Nuevo Road. In terms of Plaza De Paris, as you know, there's always ongoing conversation with the development community. So I can't say anything other than we're in constant communication, and we're hoping to bring more retailers into that shopping center. As for the upcoming plan commissioner, planning commission meeting, we do have a meeting on March 2nd, so just be prepared and put that on your calendar for attendance. We should have, right now we have 2 scheduled project for that meeting. So just be ready for that. And then beyond that, Monday is, I believe, President's Day. So if you're fortunate enough to have that day off, enjoy that time with friends and family. Or if you're retired, like one of our commissioners, every day is President's Day. And with that said, I forgot one thing to mention. We're still working on that survey for how we compare to other communities. I'm hoping to have that ready by the March 2nd meeting. If not, we'll just come back after the Planning Commissioners Academy. But it's very close, and I'm hopeful to have that by the next meeting. With that said, no further feedback.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for our interpreter there. We appreciate it. That's a first for us, so we just have to get used to it. The city council, I don't even know if they've had it yet. We're probably the first, aren't we? Because I don't think they had one. Yeah, I think they were talking about it that Tuesday, but I don't think they had the person there. So good. It's a long time overdue. Yeah. Don't ask me to do it because I barely speak English that much. But anyway, with that, we say adjournment. Thank you, Ryan, once again. Yeah, and thanks for the candy. What do you think we came for? I only come for the candy. There's no other reason. And with that, good night. Be safe. And be safe. And we look forward to the day we won't have these. But anyway, adjournment, like I say, just pick a name. So.